Hi guys! Today I'm here just bringing you my June 2016 manga pickups. I ended up picking up more than I was expecting to because of that Right Stuff Out of Print sale that they threw up all of a sudden. Um, but that's okay because I got some cool titles. First we're going to start out with my sustain the industry type of stuff, my new titles. Mostly continuations of series. And the first one is Tokyo Ghoul, Volume 7. I actually really like this cover. It's a wraparound, like Volume 5. You get to see Kaneki showing off his new haircut, and a lizard for some reason. This volume really is where the story starts to diverge more heavily from the anime, which I've already seen, so I'm very curious to see where the story goes from here, because I am reading the manga as it comes out in America. And then next we have a kind of risque cover, but this is Frank and Fran, Omnibus, Volumes 3 and 4. This is a really gross, sort of fucked up horror title focused on sort of body horror, and I actually had to mark this page because there's not a whole lot of pages in here that I can show you, but to get an idea for the art, here's some horror imagery that is so gross. I love this series. I love Fran. She is a great character, sort of no moral compass. Her whole modus operandi is she has to keep the patient alive, but her definition of alive might be a little looser than most people's, so we get a lot of really creepy results out of that. And then next we have Goodnight Pun Pun, Volume 2, which I have not read yet, but I'm looking forward to reading it. Again, I really like the design of the back. I think it's really fun. And then finally for the new stuff, I picked up a couple of books in the Right Stuff Yen Press sale, and those were Volumes 2 and 3 of the Durarara light novels. I've been really enjoying these. I think they're very well written for light novels, and the translation so far has been really high quality. I'm glad to be caught up with the release. I also pre-ordered 4, so I'm looking forward to that. And then we get into the older stuff that I got used. Gonna start out with a title I got that I already showed in my manga collection video, but I actually did buy it in June, so I figured I'd just show the individual covers because I didn't do that in my collection video. And that is They Were 11 by Moto Hagio. It's just a short story, but since it was released in these 32-page comic book issues, there's 4 of them. And here's Volume 1, or Issue 1, I guess. Issue 2. Issue 3. And finally, Issue 4. And I really liked this cover in particular. And then that was actually ended up being really cheap, which is nice because I actually found 3 out of the 4 issues coming from a comic book shop up in Denver, which is close to me, so that was nice. I didn't have to pay a whole lot of shipping. And then the next few are from a couple of used book and comic stores from my area that I hadn't checked out before. The first one I mostly got like actual books from, but they did have a couple of nice shelves of manga, some kind of neat out of print stuff. That's actually where I got that Raijin Comics volume of Slam Dunk. So sometimes there's some nice stuff there. I got series Celestial Legend, Volume 3. This fills in a hole because I had 1, 2, and 4. So that's nice. It's actually an event that, involves this character in this book that makes me really angry, but that's okay. Because I said I was going to collect the whole series. Flaws and all, warts and all. There's a lot of warts. And then the next couple I got from a comic shop that didn't really have very good prices, but I did find a couple of things for decent prices. The first one is... Come on. Come on, I believe in you. This cover has a lot of white on it. But this is Swan, Volume 4. It's a ballet manga from the 70s, shoujo manga, that I've wanted to check out for a while. They actually had the first 3 volumes too, but I didn't like the price they were asking for. But Volume 4 is actually quite hard to find right now, so I just snagged that so I wouldn't have to deal with it later. And I'll see if I can get the first 3 online for a good price. And then the next one was Please Save My Earth, Volume 1. A series I've been meaning to check out for a long time. I read this and I really loved it, so I can't wait to pick up more of this series. And finally, I got a manhwa, which is the first volume of 1001 Nights, which is a sort of BL adaptation of the 1001 Arabian Nights. It's a pretty straight retelling, except that Scheherazade is a guy in this one. So you just have that sort of BL relationship between the Sultan and him. But otherwise, it's, I think each volume adapts a different story, and it's probably the most sort of accurate, faithful adaptation of the Arabian Nights that I've seen in manga or manhwa. It's one of my favorite manhwa, and the art is just absolutely beautiful. So many pretty people. And then I actually ended up... Shit, that one. So pretty. But I ended up getting volumes 2. And 3 from Right Stuff as well. And can't wait to pick up more of this. It has, great adventure and romance and exotic locales and everything you could possibly want from an adaptation of the Arabian Nights. And it has that beautiful, beautiful artwork. So I can't wait to get more of this. There's like 13 or 14 volumes. They're all released in English. From what I know, I think they're all in print right now, so shouldn't be that hard to find. And then we get into the stuff I got from the Right Stuff out of print sale, starting with a manhwa. This month is a lot of manhwa and OELs, weirdly enough. But I've been meaning to get into more manhwa, so the first one is this Volume 1 of Evi Ione, Ocean Fantasy. I think only 2 volumes were ever released in English. So this is the first of those, but this is a manhwa that I've actually already read, and I really like it a lot. I'm a big fan of Mermaids, and I really like the Rococo French setting. Get to see her in her beautiful wigs and dresses. This is a loose adaptation of The Little Mermaid, but with the genders swapped. So it's a French noblewoman named Evi Ione and the King of the Ocean. The art is beautiful. You get all these beautiful, like, Rococo dresses and wigs. I like that, you know, her hair is actually shaved really short so that she can wear all those wigs and not get lice. Nice period accurate detail there. And I really like that it has sort of a strong sense of mystery and almost a menace to it. You get all this beautiful imagery, and then you get, you know, sort of more sinister stuff, like when the sea witch transforms the king of the ocean into a human. You know, you get this imagery of, like, his tail splitting apart into legs. And I just like that sort of darker edge. That's something I really look for in titles about mermaids. So, yeah, really enjoy that one. And then next we have actually an OEL. This is volume 1 and 2 of Offbeat by Jen Lee Quick. This title is actually picked up by the online magazine Sparkler Monthly, and they released the third and final volume in print, so I just need to get that. The first two are Tokyo Pop, though, which means they're out of print. I'm really enjoying this author's 2 titles that she's doing with Sparkler right now, and I'd actually already read this because my library had this, and I think the ladies over at Manga Bookshelf recommended it pretty strongly, so I was like, I'll check it out. And yeah, it's super good. It's like a sort of BL manga about this boy who has mysterious psychic powers and a connection to a secret organization, and this boy who develops an interest in him because he's so quiet and handsome and mysterious, you know, and actually starts, like, stalking him, keeping up these, like, meticulous notebooks of his everyday life, and it's really creepy, but it treats it as creepy, so that's good. But, and it's really about sort of the relationship that develops between these two boys. They're in, like, 8th or 9th grade, they're very young, and I feel that this is one of the most sort of natural, honest BL relationships that I've read. It's just about these two boys and their, like, flawed, awkward, cute little romance that develops between them. The sci-fi elements are interesting, but they're not my favorite part of this series. I really am more interested in the relationship that develops between the two boys. And, but I recommend it, especially since it's so short. And then we have volume 22 of Fruits Basket, which is actually just replacing the volume I had, which I got, you know, way early in my collecting. And, you know, it's in pretty terrible shape. See if I can get a hold of it here. Been accidentally setting all of my manga on top of it, so that was smart. Good job, Rachel. Whoop, there we go. But this is the volume I had. You can see it's got a big chunk out of the front. The pages are pretty yellow. It's got this, like, stain here that I have not been able to get out. It's not going to show it to you. There it is. See? And, like, tons of stickers, almost fine. Terrible quality. The pages themselves are fine, so I'll probably just donate this. Sure, someone will be happy to have it at Goodwill. But it's not really something I want to have in my collection. So I saw this for like $6 on Right Stuff's sale, and this volume's actually kind of annoying to get because it's out of print. It's one of the ones that kind of shot up in price. So I'm happy to have this, like, brand new, nice quality book. And finally, we have a Yuri title. This is one of the handful of one-shots that have been released by Tokyo Pop from Erika Sakurazawa, who is she was a major figure in the Gyaru manga, movement of the late 90s and early aughts, along with like Moyoko Ano and Kyoko Okazaki. You can see kind of the style is very stark. It's not working, come on. Yeah, see, it's very, very stark, lots of negative space. Sort of deceptively messy and simple. So I am a big fan of Okazaki and Ano, obviously, so I've been very interested in Sakurazawa's work since she is from the same school as them. And, but I'm really only interested in her Yuri titles because she is a queer woman and she does write a lot of stories about queer women. But a lot of those have not been translated into English. It's mostly her straight stories. So this one is an exception. It is called Between the Sheets. It's about a girl who has an unrequited crush on her best friend and sort of the bittersweet story of her feelings and their friendship. Yeah, looking forward to reading this and hopefully checking out more of Sakurazawa's works. So let's see if we can get a hold of this large pile here. Whoa! That is all of the manga that I got for the month of June. Thank you for joining me. Whoa, that was terrible. That's how clumsy I am, but that's okay. And yeah, hopefully you got something out of that. See you next month.